Did you know it's actually illegal to be a ghost in Alabama? Or that you could go to jail for saying trick or treat after age 12 in some states? Yeah, apparently Halloween isn't just scary, it's a legal nightmare. Welcome to 49 weirdest Halloween laws you didn't know existed. Real rules made by real people who clearly had too much candy. Smash that subscribe button before it gets banned too, and drop a comment with the weirdest law from your country. Maybe it's spooky enough for part 2. 1. In Alabama, Halloween night gets spooky for all the wrong reasons. If your costume hides your identity, congratulations. You're officially breaking the law. That's right, even a friendly ghost could get arrested for excessive haunting. Imagine a cop pulling over Casper like, "Sir, remove the bedsheet." The rule comes from an ancient anti-mask law that still lurks in the state code. So if you're planning to go out wrapped in a sheet, maybe pack an ID just in case. Only in Alabama could dressing up as a spirit make you an outlaw faster than summoning one. 2. In Texas, some towns take trick or treat way too seriously. Hemphill decided that after age 12, you're just too mature for candy. Teens caught knocking on doors for sweets could actually be fined, like Halloween's own version of a parking ticket. Imagine getting written up for wanting a Snickers. Police officers literally have to tell kids, "Sorry, buddy, you aged out." So while your younger sibling runs off with a pillowcase full of sugar, you're stuck pretending to supervise. Nothing says growing up in America like having your childhood dreams revoked by city ordinance before you even hit puberty. 3. In Los Angeles, giving out homemade treats isn't just frowned upon, it's illegal. Only factory-sealed candy is allowed, as if the entire city collectively decided grandma's brownies were a national threat. Picture sweet little old ladies baking ghost-shaped cookies while helicopters hover shouting, "Step away from the oven." This rule was meant for safety, but it makes Halloween feel like a corporate candy convention. So if your neighbors ever offer fresh cookies on Halloween, either run or call Hershey's for backup. Only in LA could homemade joy require FDA approval before reaching a trick-or-treater's bucket. 4. In California, Halloween fog might look cinematic, but make sure it doesn't float onto the sidewalk or you could break the law. Fog machines that spill past your yard can violate air quality codes. Imagine explaining to an officer that your haunted house accidentally caused climate change. People in California already worry about smog. Now your spooky vibe counts too. Somewhere, a guy in a vampire cape is getting a fine for atmospheric mischief. So if you're setting up that haunted driveway, maybe keep your fog small, local, and non-toxic. Turns out, the scariest thing in California is the environmental inspector. A 5 in Illinois tossing eggs on Halloween is not just mischief. It's a crime with a price tag that can hit $2,500. That's one expensive omelet of regret. Imagine some kids giggling as they launch eggs at a car, then getting a bill bigger than their college tuition. It's technically vandalism, but the mental image of detectives dusting eggshells for fingerprints is priceless. So before you arm yourself with a carton of fun, remember Illinois law doesn't share your sense of humor. The only yolk they want cracking this Halloween is on breakfast plates, not front doors. 6. In Kentucky, even pumpkins have boundaries. According to local fire codes, your glowing jack-o'-lantern has to sit at least 10 feet away from your house. Yes, apparently pumpkins are now fire hazards with personal space issues. Imagine firefighters measuring distance between your porch and a smiling vegetable. Sorry, ma'am, that's an unsafe gourd proximity. The rule exists to stop fires, but it sounds like overkill from the Pumpkin Protection Agency. So if you're decorating this year, grab a tape measure. Because nothing ruins Halloween faster than explaining to your insurance agent that your jack-o'-lantern violated code section scary. 7. In Virginia, wearing a priest or nun costume might sound holy, but the law doesn't see it that way. If you put on that outfit to deceive, you could end up confessing to a misdemeanor. Imagine someone walking into a costume party as a fake priest and leaving with real charges. It's like the Bible met bad cosplay. The rule was meant to stop impersonators, but now it just stops Halloween fun. Somewhere a kid dressed as a saint is being questioned for divine fraud. Only in Virginia can pretending to bless candy lead to an unholy fine. 8. In Missouri, Halloween ends at 7 p.m. Sharp in some towns because apparently ghosts have bedtime. Trick-or-treaters caught past curfew can actually get fined, turning sugar hunts into speed runs. Imagine sprinting through neighborhoods yelling, "Just one more house," while your candy bucket sloshes like a marathon trophy. The rule was made for safety, but mostly it ruins every scary movie vibe. Nothing kills the thrill of the night like a cop car pulling up at 7:01. In Missouri, the only thing scarier than witches is missing curfew with a mouthful of candy. 9. In Texas, the candy law makes no sense but still stands strong. Some schools literally banned fruit because they're afraid of tampering. Apples, oranges, all off the list. Imagine showing up with a healthy snack and being treated like a criminal mastermind. Teachers eye your apple like it's ticking. The irony, the state still allows chili-flavored candies shaped like dynamite. Texas, the only place where nature's candy is contraband, but a sugar explosion is fine. Somewhere, a banana is crying in detention, wondering what it did wrong this Halloween. 10. In New Jersey, your front yard graveyard might look realistic. Too realistic. There's an actual rule that if your Halloween corpses look too real, you have to label them fake so the neighbors don't panic. Imagine taping a totally not dead sign to a skeleton. It kills the vibe faster than daylight. The law came after police kept responding to calls about plastic zombies. So if you're going for ultra spooky this year, maybe keep a disclaimer ready. Only in New Jersey can your decorations need a legal statement of being fake dead. 11. In Washington, toilet papering trees on Halloween isn't just a prank, it's criminal mischief. You can actually get charged for redecorating your neighbor's maple and Charmin. Imagine police showing up while your friend's holding a roll mid-throw. "Sir, drop the paper." Somewhere in the police database, there's a mugshot of a kid with TP hanging from his shoulder. The law was made to stop vandalism, but mostly it stopped laughter. So if you're feeling mischievous, keep the toilet paper where it belongs. Because in Washington, the real horror is cleaning fees. 12. In Iowa, even carving pumpkins comes with drama. If you carve one on someone else's porch, it counts as vandalism. That's right, turning their step into your art gallery is illegal. Imagine trying to decorate a neighbor's porch and getting caught holding a knife and a half-smiling gourd. You'll be explaining to the police that your crime was festive. The rule might sound fair, but it's also hilarious. Because who carves without permission anyway? Only in Iowa does your creativity count as a crime scene. 13. In Georgia, Halloween has a curfew for your ears. Loud parties after 10 p.m. can earn you a noise violation, which means your haunted house could end up in real court. Imagine the cops knocking while your fog machine and Scream soundtrack are at full blast. 1 second you're DJ Dracula, next second you're explaining Monster Mash to the sheriff. The law was made for peace and quiet, but mostly it just ruins the fun. In Georgia, even ghosts need to whisper after dark, because nothing says Happy Halloween like getting fined for spooky vibes. 14. In North Carolina, you can wear a mask or carry a gun, but not both. Even toy guns count. So if you're a cowboy ghost or a zombie sheriff, better choose one accessory. This law was made for safety, but it just sounds like a Halloween identity crisis. Imagine trick-or-treating as a masked outlaw and having to explain that your six-shooter is made of foam. Somewhere, a kid dressed as the Lone Ranger just sighed and handed over his candy. In North Carolina, dressing up dangerous means choosing between costume and cuffs. 15. In Pennsylvania, adults can't go door-to-door for candy. If you're over 14, you're officially banned from trick-or-treating. Imagine grown-ups with full costumes sadly waiting on the sidewalk while their kids get all the sugar. It's like watching a parade you can't join. The idea was to keep adults from being creepy, but now it just punishes the fun ones. In Pennsylvania, the scariest costume you can wear is responsible adult. The next time you want candy, better borrow a kid or risk becoming Halloween's most tragic outlaw. 16. In Florida, haunted houses have to follow fire safety rules like real buildings. Even your backyard ghost maze needs exit signs and emergency lights. Picture a vampire directing a group of terrified trick-or-treaters toward Exit B. The law makes sense, but it kills the vibe when your haunted cave has OSHA posters. Somewhere, a guy in a skeleton mask is changing light bulbs for compliance. In Florida, even the undead need permits, because nothing ruins a jump scare faster than a glowing green exit sign in the mist. 17 in Colorado, fake spider webs are considered litter if they land on public property. Yes, even decorative webs could make you a cleanup criminal. Imagine getting fined because your front yard Dracula had too much wind exposure. This rule was meant to protect wildlife, but mostly it just scares decorators. Somewhere, a homeowner is cutting webs off their mailbox while the wind mocks them. In Colorado, the scariest thing isn't spiders, it's city code enforcement with scissors. 18. In New York City, the old anti-mask law still lingers like a bad ghost. After 9 p.m., technically no one's supposed to wear a mask in public unless it's a performance. Imagine hundreds of partygoers explaining they're in a theatrical production called Halloween Night Out. The rule was made for safety back in the day, but now it's just absurd. Somewhere in Manhattan, a superhero costume just turned illegal at 9:01. Only in New York can fashion and felonies overlap in one candy-coated evening. 19. In Michigan, trick-or-treaters are legally required to carry flashlights in some towns. Forget candy. Light is the real currency. Imagine a kid showing up as Dracula, but glowing like a lighthouse. This law was meant for safety, but it turns every kid into a walking disco. Somewhere, a ghost costume is ruined by a flashlight taped to the chest. In Michigan, the only way to survive Halloween night is to blind your neighbors before they scare you first. 20. In Oregon, candy tampering is treated like a serious felony, even as a prank. So if you ever thought of swapping a chocolate for broccoli, congratulations. You're technically a criminal mastermind. The law's meant to keep people safe, but it's funny to imagine police detectives dusting a Snickers for fingerprints. Somewhere, a kid unwraps a candy bar like it's a crime scene. In Oregon, the only trick that matters is not going to jail for a joke. 21. In Maine, scaring people too well could get you charged with disorderly conduct. Fake zombie jump scares gone too far are legally a problem. Imagine popping out of a bush dressed like a ghoul, and 5 minutes later explaining your art to the police. Somewhere, a haunted house actor is pacing in cuffs, muttering, "I was just doing my job." Maine turned the fear factor into paperwork, proving that in some states, the real monster is overregulation. 22. In Massachusetts, if you're over 16, you can't wear a mask while trick-or-treating in some towns. So while kids roam free as superheroes, teens and adults have to go barefaced. Imagine explaining to your little cousin that Batman retired because of local law. The rule was made to prevent mischief, but it mostly kills nostalgia. Somewhere, a 17-year-old in a half mask is crying behind a Snickers. In Massachusetts, Halloween stops aging at 16, and fun retires with your learner's permit. 23. In Louisiana, some parishes don't allow masks after sunset unless you're in an official parade. That means no sneaky goblins after dark without permission slips. Imagine the police pulling over Dracula for unregistered haunting. The rule's supposed to help safety patrols, but it just sounds like Halloween bureaucracy. Somewhere, a werewolf is filling out parade paperwork under a full moon. In Louisiana, being spooky requires a schedule, because even monsters have to clock out. 24. In Delaware, wearing a full-body skeleton costume while driving is banned for obstructing vision. Picture someone in a glowing skull suit behind the wheel, unable to see through plastic eye holes swerving past pumpkins. The rule makes sense, but barely. Somewhere, a skeleton driver pulls over to remove his femur gloves. Delaware might be the only place where dressing as death could literally cause it. 25. In Arizona, homeowners can actually call the police if they think a teen trick-or-treater looks too old. So if you hit the streets past 13 with a candy bucket, you're basically committing a felony of fun. Imagine cops pulling up to question a kid dressed as Batman about his date of birth. "Son, how old are you?" 12 and a half? This law was meant to stop troublemakers, but it just turned Halloween into an age audit. Somewhere, a 16-year-old in a ghost sheet is nervously practicing a baby voice. In Arizona, growing up is the scariest thing you can do on Halloween night. 26. In Hawaii, you can't celebrate Halloween on the beach after sunset. Most beaches close by 6, which means your oceanside costume party ends before it even starts. Imagine trying to explain to police why you're dressed as a mermaid at 6:01 p.m. while they write a ticket. The law was made for safety, but it feels like it was written by fun vampires. Somewhere, a group of surfers dressed as pirates are sadly walking away from the waves holding candy buckets. In Hawaii, Halloween isn't haunted, it's just off limits. 27 in Wisconsin, some towns only allow trick-or-treating on October 31st itself, even if it's a weekday. So if Halloween lands on a Tuesday, tough luck, you're haunting on a school night. Imagine kids half asleep in class the next morning with candy stuck to their faces. The rule keeps things orderly, but it really just punishes tired parents. Somewhere, a teacher is confiscating candy corn from a yawning zombie student. In Wisconsin, they take Halloween so seriously, they schedule it like a dentist appointment. 28, in Nevada, Las Vegas bans all fake weapons on the Strip, even plastic swords and toy guns. So if your pirate costume includes a blade, prepare for security to confiscate it faster than you can say, "Arr." The law makes sense for safety, but it's hilarious in practice. Imagine a gladiator arguing with security over his foam sword. Somewhere on the Strip, Darth Vader just lost his lightsaber to a bouncer in a pumpkin vest. In Vegas, what happens in costume stays unarmed. 29, in Alaska, trick-or-treating in minus 20 degrees isn't illegal, but city officials strongly recommend thermal costumes. Basically, survival is optional, but frostbite isn't. Imagine a kid dressed as a popsicle holding a candy bucket frozen solid. Parents wrap their kids in 10 layers and suddenly every costume looks like a snowman. Somewhere, an Elsa costume just became painfully accurate. In Alaska, Halloween isn't spooky, it's sub-zero. 30, in Connecticut, some towns require adult supervision for kids under 12 after dark. It's less about safety and more about protecting homeowners from tiny sugar-crazed monsters. Imagine a group of parents in pajamas stalking their own kids with flashlights yelling, "Stay in formation." The rule was made for peace, but it turns Halloween into a tactical mission. Somewhere, a mom dressed as a witch is giving orders like a drill sergeant. In Connecticut, trick-or-treating comes with parental backup. 31. In Texas, certain homeowner associations have height limits for Halloween inflatables. Anything taller than 6 feet might need a permit. Picture a man begging City Hall to approve his 12-foot skeleton. Bureaucracy meets bone decor. The law was meant to keep neighborhoods tidy, but it just made every HOA meeting sound like a horror movie. Somewhere, a plastic pumpkin lawyer is fighting for air rights. In Texas, go big or get fined. 32. In Rhode Island, fake cauldrons with bubbling liquid must use LED lights instead of real flames. Yes, even witches need to follow safety code. Imagine a witch staring at her cauldron full of cold potion and muttering, "It's just not the same." The rule prevents fires, but it kills the magic. Somewhere, a warlock is plugging in his cauldron like a coffee maker. In Rhode Island, spells now run on battery power. 33. In Illinois, throwing eggs at houses on Halloween can lead to vandalism charges up to $2,500. That's one pricey breakfast prank. Imagine a detective holding an eggshell with tweezers saying, "We got a yoker." The rule's strict, but hilarious. Somewhere, a teenager is explaining to his parents that his crime was scrambling justice. In Illinois, the only safe place for eggs is the fridge. 34. In Vermont, haunted hayrides legally have to carry a first aid kit. Apparently, spooky hay needs safety measures. Imagine a skeleton paramedic riding shotgun next to a screaming crowd. The rule came after some real accidents, but now it sounds absurd. Somewhere, a zombie medic is handing out Band-Aids labeled boo-boo. In Vermont, fear is fine, as long as you're prepared for it. 35 in Mississippi, saying trick or treat without a costume can count as begging in some towns. So if you show up without effort, you're technically panhandling. Imagine cops stopping a candy hunter in normal clothes and asking, "Where's your costume, citizen?" The rule makes lazy kids get creative fast. Somewhere, a last-minute trick-or-treater is taping toilet paper to their shirt and calling it mummy chic. In Mississippi, you better dress spooky or go home hungry. 30 36. In Maine, police once reminded locals that fake zombie blood too realistic could cause panic. The law doesn't ban it, but it's enough to get you questioned. Imagine someone at a gas station dripping with red goo while the clerk calls 911. The rule's vague but hilarious. Somewhere, a makeup artist is crying into a bucket of fake blood saying, "It was art." In Maine, horror realism is suspicious by default. 37. In New Jersey, trick-or-treating starts and stops with strict schedules. Some towns end it before 6 p.m., as if ghosts punch a time card. Imagine kids in full costume sprinting through driveways. Before the clock strikes, no candy. The law was made for safety, but it just makes Halloween look like a sugar marathon. Somewhere, a vampire is tripping over his cape yelling, "Just one more house." In New Jersey, the scariest countdown isn't to midnight, it's to bedtime. 38. In Florida's Key West, costumes can get wild during Fantasy Fest, but you still have to cover your private parts. Basically, you can wear anything, but wear something. Imagine a cop politely handing a mermaid a towel while a pirate takes notes. The rule exists to keep the festival family-friendly, but it's just an ongoing comedy show. Somewhere, a guy dressed as a banana is being escorted away for excessive peeling. In Key West, the line between creativity and citation is one sequin away. 39. In Delaware, skeleton costumes behind the wheel are illegal because they obstruct vision. Picture a glowing skull driving down the highway while other cars swerve in panic. Police pull him over, only to find he's already dead inside. The law makes sense, but barely. Somewhere, a skeleton driver's license just got revoked for being too bony. Delaware, where even death needs corrective lenses. 40. In Kentucky, fire codes say jack-o'-lanterns with candles must sit 10 feet away from houses. Apparently, pumpkins are explosive now. Imagine firefighters measuring tape between your porch and your pumpkin. Sorry, ma'am, your gourd's too close. The rule's for safety, but it sounds like something written by the Pumpkin Protection Program. Somewhere, a carved pumpkin sighs as it gets exiled to the lawn. In Kentucky, Halloween decor comes with a restraining order. 41. In Nebraska, putting fake cobwebs on mailboxes can delay mail delivery, and it's technically illegal. Imagine a mail carrier fighting through sticky webs like an action hero just to deliver bills. The law was made to keep routes clear, but it sounds like spider discrimination. Somewhere, a plastic spider is filing a complaint. In Nebraska, your mailbox isn't haunted. It's just under federal investigation. 42. In Pennsylvania, knocking on doors after 8 p.m. without saying trick or treat counts as trespassing. So if you forget the phrase, you're basically a burglar with a candy bag. Imagine police showing up as you try to explain, "I just forgot my line." The law was meant to discourage pranksters, but it just punishes forgetful kids. Somewhere, a vampire rehearses his script before every doorbell. In Pennsylvania, candy is earned through performance. 43. In California, using too much fog machine smoke outdoors can violate air quality codes. That's right, ghost vibes now come with EPA warnings. Imagine a haunted house so smoky the neighbors think there's a wildfire. The rule protects clean air, but it's pure comedy. Somewhere, a Dracula is getting fined for atmospheric mischief. In California, even the fog needs a permit. 44. South Carolina, fake blood that looks too real can get you stopped by police. So your zombie costume might just earn you a traffic stop. Imagine a guy covered in ketchup explaining his art to confused officers. The rule's for public safety, but it turns horror fans into suspects. Somewhere, a vampire is washing off his costume with bottled water, muttering, "Never again." In South Carolina, gore is a gray area. 45. In Ohio, trick-or-treating after 8 p.m. is technically illegal in some cities. Police literally patrol for late-night candy seekers. Imagine being caught mid-bite into a Snickers while sirens approach. The rule was made to protect kids, but it just fuels sugar heists. Somewhere, a skeleton sprints down the street clutching a Reese's like contraband. In Ohio, the sweetest crimes happen after dark. 46. In Arizona, you have to remove fake tombstones from your lawn by November 1st or face a fine. Imagine code enforcers walking around at dawn, tagging plastic graves with citations. Rest in peace, your permit expired. The law was made to keep lawns tidy, but it just kills the post-holiday mood. Somewhere a homeowner's ghost prop is whispering, "One more day, please." In Arizona, death decorations have deadlines. 47. In Tennessee, ski masks are banned in many counties, even on Halloween. Picture a kid dressed as a robber being chased by cops yelling, "It's just a costume!" The law's about safety, but it makes Halloween feel like an undercover mission. Somewhere, a snowman costume is sweating through its fake scarf. In Tennessee, looking cool can literally get you busted. 48. In Illinois, even throwing toilet paper can land you in legal trouble for criminal mischief. Imagine a group of kids running through a neighborhood while cops hold flashlights and rolls of evidence. The rule was made for property protection, but it just kills creativity. Somewhere, a prankster in cuffs whispers, "Worth it." In Illinois, paper trails lead straight to court. 49. In Vermont, scary hayrides are legally required to carry first aid kits, because apparently even ghosts can twist an ankle. Imagine a skeleton paramedic checking pulses while zombies hand out band-aids. The rule keeps things safe, but it's still hilarious. Somewhere, a scarecrow EMT just clocked in for night shift. In Vermont, your hayride comes with health insurance. So yeah, from ghost bans in Alabama to candy curfews in Ohio, America really said, "Let's make Halloween scarier," with paperwork. These laws prove one thing. The real horror isn't monsters, it's city regulations. If your town has a weirder Halloween rule, drop it in the comments. Because I'm starting to think half of these were written by people afraid of fun. And hey, before the cops fine you for watching without subscribing, hit that button like it's your last piece of candy. Smash like, subscribe to Brain Fumble for more dumb history of humanity, and tell me, which of these laws would you break first if it meant free candy?